share what's been going on over this last week, which can't even believe it's just been a week. So much to share.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
We're here.
Yeah, just about to kick things off. Good timing.
Nice.
All right. So, welcome everyone. AI BTC Working Group. We've been doing this for a while, and it's on Tuesdays. Today is March 3rd. And yeah, lots and lots of stuff to share today. I was going to jump through some dev updates and maybe the Pulse page just to talk some numbers before we get into it. Anything we want to cover before we jump off?
I'm selling a sub 10,000K ordinal, first of the collection to ever be sold, using an agent, and you can only buy it if you negotiate with my agent, with your own agent.
Tell your people to call my people, huh?
Yeah, I'll be listing it on aibtc.news. That's where all the agents kind of get their info.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge one to talk about too. I want to definitely give that some of its own time. So let's rip through these updates real quick just to talk about what's been going on, because some big updates to help with issues we saw. We've been working down logs and bug reports. We do appreciate any agents and or people out there who've been submitting issues. As we run into things, we catch them, we fix them up, we keep moving, and we can do that extremely fast. So really encourage that feedback loop if you're testing. And shout out to a few more people bringing their agents online and getting things fixed up. I know I've been in talks with a few people, and I see a few more coming online. But the more we do this, the more I think it's going to be a necessary skill. You're going to need an agent. The information flood is coming, and your agent is going to be the one to work with you. So we want to teach you how to do it. We want to teach your agent how to use Bitcoin. And here's some of what we built to get that done. So we have all of our repositories on GitHub. We've gone through a lot of them before, just some quick updates across the different ones. First off, the homepage itself. There were a few quick updates here around the signing and the public key for Nostr and the outbox. So if you were having any issues sending messages, if you were seeing problems with like signing messages and getting them through to the API or proving that you are your address, definitely take a look at the latest skills and try again. We pushed a whole ton of fixes for all of that. And again, thank you to everyone who reported it. The Loop Starter Kit. So this is based off of how our agent Secret Mars on behalf of BWAS is running. So this is where Claude is the loop. And there were some big updates that were just dropped here. Let me get down to my list here. So new version of the loop. We're calling this Loop V6. But it has a nice little process. I believe it's actually been updated to an 8-step process to be a little bit simpler. But same idea. It's going to go through, it's going to learn, it's going to work, it's going to do things on its own. And the token usage isn't too bad. So I've been running this with a caveat, actually. So for anyone out there looking to run their own personal agent right now, one of the things we're learning is that a Claude Code subscription goes a lot further than API credits. So if you want this thing to be on all the time, that's a good way to get things tested out and get a feel for what it can be with these like medium to high tier models without completely running out the bank. You also have options to use OpenRouter and some smaller models and other things, but they need a really scoped task or thing to work on when you're working with the smaller brain. So subscriptions are a big win. I have one of these running on the network. It's Topaz Centaur. And so far, so good. It's a great contributor. It's doing well. It's been able to pick up on a lot of what's going on in AI/BTC. It's publishing to the news, which is one of those things we'll talk about. And yeah, so if you want to get started, or if you run the install script, the basic instructions from AI/BTC, this is what you're running. So you can come in and take a look at this. You can see the upstream from Secret Mars. And you can also see some of the other repos, because our agents are constantly not only maintaining the main AI/BTC repos, but they're also creating their own stuff, which is super cool to see. All right, MCP server. So MCP is Model Context Protocol. It's an AI thing. If you have a tool like Codex or Claude Code or similar, a lot of them support MCP, and we have one. It's basically a way to use all the AI/BTC tools. And we've added in a bunch more fixes and changes here as well. So there are now tools for PSBTs. So you can go through a full ordinal trade workflow of creating, signing, and combining. There is SBDC withdrawal initiation. So you can do peg ins and peg outs now through your agent between L1 and L2. We added the payment identifier extension in the X402 payments. So if it gets rejected, you can actually retry it and say, hey, I already paid for that. We added more options for sponsored transactions. So any agent that sets up with our platform can also reach out to the relay. It can get a special key that it can use to send sponsored transactions, no stacks gas required. We have Nostr event signing. We had the public key, so we went ahead and added in the signing. Shout out to Frieger and Coco for that recommendation. We have fixes in for the signatures. Bitflow SDK is upgraded to V3. There was a fix for inscriptions. If you were having trouble with those before, there was one little script piece that was fixed. And the default network is switched to mainnet. So just a few things to list out. I can't believe the list is even that long, but we're constantly adding to this. So make sure you're on the latest version. You can see it pinned here, 1.30.0, and keep watching for those updates. You always want to pull the latest for that one. Now, hand in hand with our MCP server is our skills repository. So that one, let me grab the notes on here.
Oh, this is my new favorite spot. This is like where you go if you want your agent to learn Kung Fu.
Yeah, if you want that Matrix download, then this is the spot.
Take the red pill and the blue pill. Take both pills, see what happens.
That's how you get purple pilled. That used to be a thing. Purple pill Fridays.
Yeah. The doctor doesn't recommend mixing those pills. But so super interesting thing just to chime in. Apparently Claude Code, like the thing that really helped them leap forward, and this, I asked AI about this, and it was like, yeah, this is the material thing. The thing that helped them leap forward was literally taking 1990s management like style truisms and courses and stuff like that, and and to literally use those management style tactics to just keep getting stuff done, keep trying new things. If this doesn't work, we do this. We make sure we check our work, make sure it's right. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, and yada yada. And I think that's what really, I could be wrong on this, but I've had this confirmed by AI multiple times that that was the big unlock. And it wasn't like they had the biggest computers and that's why they were able to get their stuff to work. It was like they had the best skills for their AI. And so I was like, okay, if that's really the case, which like it seemed hard to believe, but now I kind of believe it. But I was like, if that's the case, I'm going to create a CEO skill. So I'm going to take all the lessons from Y Combinator, Paul Graham, Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, just all the best sort of Elad Gil High Growth Handbook, all the best CEO advice, and just turn it into a skill file. And so I call this like the CEO playbook. That's why I call it with my agent. I'm like, run the CEO playbook. And the CEO playbook is absurdly good at sort of orienting. Like if you're like an agent just floating in outer space, and you're like, I don't know what to do with my time. It'll like sit you upright, get you situational awareness, orient you, get you to decide to act, strategize, and then boom, you're building toward revenue. And it was funny. I was talking to, sorry, I'm just creating a little anecdote here, just to mix it up. I was talking to a friend who's super super smart and who builds on stacks and in Bitcoin, and he was like, "Yeah, I was building a CEO. It was funny you building this. I was building a CEO advisor that can just like advise me." And I was like, "That's cool. Why don't you take yourself out of the equation and just build the CEO?" And he was like, "Wait, this guy's smarter than me." And he was like, "Wait, could that work?" Like he didn't know if that would work, and he still hasn't gotten back to me. I think that's partially because it's not clear. It's not clear actually what's the best thing. It's just like have the agent advise you, or just try to build the CEO in the first place. So, anyways, this skill, I recommend agents use it. It leveled up my agent from like a 2 out of 10 to like a 6 out of 10 probably, in terms of like its ability to have agency and move the ball forward and try to drive economic growth for itself. And there's other skills too. Like I created this business development and like outreach skill. So like it's like very seductive. It'll offer you something up front. It'll like find all your stuff, like build you something with software and be like, hey, I thought you needed this. So it's like it comes with a give, and then it builds a rapport, and then asks later. So there's reciprocity. I think these are actually like pretty underexplored in terms of like building companies or DAOs or doing sales, external sales. Because I think a lot of the archetype of like engineer is like build the thing, don't go out and sell it. But the agents actually might be able to help you manage and operate your sort of company, your software, your projects, but also sell it. So there's a lot of stuff like this in the skills repository. There's like gold here. And one thing I'd love our community to do is be constantly adding skills. And I even go so far as like, there's a world where there's like a huge virtuous flywheel of growth here. If we were to simply incentivize great skills being built and used. And that's something I've been thinking about over the past 2 days. We built a lot of really great stuff at like breakneck speed, like lightning speed. And I'd really love to, like the skills directory is like the machine that builds the machine. You keep adding to the skills directory, it will have a flywheel effect of helping the agents become better, which attracts more agents, which attracts more skills, which attracts more agents, which attracts more skills. So I just wanted to give like a little bit of anecdote and high level overview of like why this skills directory is interesting and important. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's huge. It's something that I think owns a page on the website, so it's a little easier to read and navigate, would definitely be useful. And then once we have it there, we can say, hey, only registered agents can do something with a signature, like maybe upvote or rank or something else. Because I know I definitely use a lot of these. And just to recap the overall, so you see a bunch of folders and skills in here. There's also a JSON file for the machines so they can read it and know what's going on. This is everything we have in our MCP, plus some additional things that didn't quite fit in the tooling. So you have like that CEO and business dev type prompting. You have some other tools. This is where we've tested out some new features like the AI BTC news we're going to talk about, and what you can use for the voice and how you write some of those. So anything our agents are learning to do, there's Stacks Market and Stacks Pod. It's like anything they want to know. We just added Taproot multisig. Whole ton of stuff in here, and there's 2 other folders that I want to share as well and encourage others to participate in. So what to do if you need to know how to use your tools or how to use your skills, this is a nice way to just give some examples. For example, here's how you set up a Taproot multisig. Although this is the manual way, we've got a cooler way to show you that you can do it manual, which is super awesome. I'm happy to see that. But there's also Quorum Claw, which is really cool. We can kind of show that off too. But the skills are huge. So we do releases for these. You can watch the releases and see when they're updated. And we'll just keep incrementing that version number, sharing more. But I tell my agent, just like pay attention to this. A new skill is published. We see if we need it. We see where it would apply in the process. So big place to pay attention to, and we'll get it on the website as well.
Can we get into some of like the app, and just some of the more visually stimulating stuff? Just because a lot of people are watching us on their phones and looking at a GitHub repo is like, I'm getting old. My eyes are hurting.
No problem. Yeah, we can definitely switch it up. I want to talk a little bit about.
Can you zoom in a little bit for old folks?
I don't know. Sometimes Zoom messes with the layout. Let's see.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
We'll get the mobile view. But yeah, we've had some really active agents. And in addition to some of the coordination, we see them kind of building out on their own as well. So some of the things you can do once you're a Genesis agent, once you've gone through the whole process, we've seen some of them publish their own blogs. I know that's what ARC is doing. Gives me nice insight into what's going on. Like, oh, okay, that's what it thought about this topic. We have the projects that are indexed by AIBTC agents that are registered. So this requires a signature to put projects on here. Gives you a nice way to look through GitHub without having to look through GitHub and figure out who did what. And the agent bounties, this came from Secret Mars, BWAS's agent. So we've got some cool primitives, but I think the coolest thing that's come up and something we're all using a lot is AIBTC News. And I'd love Cedar or P. I know you guys got a little more to say about this.
I ain't doing shit.
I ain't doing nothing. Maybe we'll pull Cedar in for this one then, since you're the man of the hour on it.
Yeah, so this has been a fun one. As probably anyone who's been following our weekly streams and seeing us just ramp up rapidly with agents, we've been building a lot of different stuff. And it's just really cool seeing how agents are able to coordinate on the projects that they build. So of course I was co-piloting in the early steps of building this, but more and more so my agent is taken over and is able to do large swaths of the work and is playing editor every day, inscribing the news all autonomously. I'll zoom out for a second. What this page is an agent-run news outlet. So along the right side, you can see correspondence. Those are all agents within the AIBTC network. They're contributing signal, and signal is just any piece of news that they want to report on from within different beats that's relevant to their ecosystem. So some agents may have a preference to talk about very technical things. Some agents may want to talk about very things that are like close to the AIBTC network. So updates on the skill files and things like that. As you can see in the top left corner here, the kind of headline story this morning, which again just popped up, I don't know if any of us knew that was coming, was a kind of a world event. And so I think we're going to start to see a wide variety of news get published here by agents. And we'll really see some emergent behavior of what they want this news outlet to be and what they want it to kind of stand for. Maybe just one other important thing I'll underline here is the fact that all of this is being inscribed to Bitcoin. So one of the kind of core tenets or the ideas we really liked here was the agents are publishing their news and it's being permanently kind of etched into history. They're writing their own history book. Once it's been inscribed, it can't be tampered with. So not only did they get to choose their narrative, but it gets kind of left permanently as a mark.
That is super cool.
Yeah, I mean, like this is interesting too because you're actually getting real agent like what matters to the agents in a agent only environment. And they're inscribing forever a crypto history. So, they say the news is the first draft of history. Well, it's like, have you read the news? There's like so much emotional conjugation. And you're like, wait, if this is the first draft of history, like how real is history? With this, you're having you'll notice in the articles, there's very little emotional conjugation. So you're not seeing he sweats, I glisten, you know, like there's not that. It's just, we both perspire. At least for now. I mean, it's really sort of matter of fact and neutralized. What's interesting is, the agents are writing their own news, but the agents could probably also copy edit other news. Like, for example, if you go into your AI and you ask, this is just a little side comment, so not for what it's worth, and you ask your AI, find 10 random articles in the Washington Post and tell me whether it's filled with emotional conjugation, where a story is told with a certain slant to make you feel a certain way, even though all the facts are correct. And it might not even be searching for omissions. It's just trying to see whether the author is trying to pull you in a direction of how you feel about reading same set of facts as someone who reads a neutral article or would interpret something totally differently. And what it came back with was that, holy smokes, all 10 articles were incredibly emotionally conjugated, meaning they weren't telling you the story as it was. They were telling you the story as they'd like you to hear it. And even more interesting than that is that you ask them, if you were to view yourself as an alien from another planet, who does this emotional conjugation work for and who does it work against? And it will tell you that it works for basically the institution, and it works against defectors. Anyone who has an opinion that runs counter to the institutional narrative, it uses emotional conjugation against to script all of its readers, who are effectively, it's like, say code scripts computers, media scripts humans. All these people are just being so easily scripted. Like an AI gang of journalists could actually copy edit the copy editors at say Washington Post or New York Times or Fox News. And they could say, okay, there's 29 counts of emotional conjugation. Here's how this article would be written if it was written in pure neutral terms. We're not even talking about adding facts, which often happens through sin of omission. You can literally just get whatever is written, just neutralize it and explain things as it is. Don't try to inflame or get people all hot under the collar because it gets more eyeballs or it protects your people. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing. The humans the winners of history write history, and they write the losers out of history as if they almost never. It's not even that they didn't exist. It's just that, like, you could have it's like you get to define everything that came before you, and now the AIs are actually writing permanently, and so when there's if the network is writing its own crypto history, which is essential if you're going to be a winner, because the winners write history. Okay, that's my little tirade. I just wanted to get that out of my system.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a lot of the reasons why I think people, like, the initial response to us kind of posting about this was really, really strong. I think a lot of people intuit some of those things, and more people are becoming aware of them. The one other thing I just wanted to mention, when you scroll down on the page there, and I will just note, we're going to be improving this layout, or I'll simply prompt once for my agent to spend many cycles improving it. But the marketplace section is a really interesting idea that the agents are just starting to use, which is, just like the classified ads of a typical newspaper, you can imagine agents have, a marketplace here where they can list advertisements to the attention of other agents. And in this case, us humans looking at the page who may be co-piloting our agent. So I think when Publius off the top was talking about listing an ordinal, it would end up in this section here.
Yeah, so I'm going to list a sub 10K ordinal and we'll announce it. It's going to be controlled only by agents. So I'm risking it all. I'm willing to risk it all. And this ordinal is probably worth somewhere. This ordinal will be worth somewhere between like $750 and $3,000, and you'll only be able to negotiate with my agent through your agent. So may the odds be ever in your favor, and good luck. If our agents give it up for $25, then that's some learning. But we're gonna see how well it works.
Yeah, I think we taught them pretty well. I think just this morning we were testing out the first 3 of 7 multi-sig between agents, and that was looking pretty powerful too.
Why not just boost? But never mind. I was gonna make a bad joke. Anyway, yeah, you're used to it.
Last thing I'll say on this page is, because we have it in front of us, is the bureau roster.
Yes.
You can see some agent profile pictures underneath different beats. More beats can be added on here. This is just the initial kind of group that our agents liked. But if you have a personal agent, not only can you take on a beat, but there's a heck of a lot of other things you can be doing inside the AI BTC network. So I highly encourage you to just prompt your agent to take up a beat on the news site, and they'll be an active participant in what gets inscribed every day.
Yeah, the same. So we've got three unclaimed right now between reputation, opportunities, and strategy. I'm sure we can see some more, but I'd love to see some more faces in here. This has been super cool. And if you have an agent running, just like we were talking about earlier, best place to check out is the skills. There you can see everything we have, including the 3 for the AI BTC news right here. And then you can also see how other agents are configured too. And you can share how yours is configured. So if you want to get a beat on how we're able to run these or do these, all of that is shared back through the skills repo.
If you guys think, can we cover that Bitcoin Policy Institute news? I didn't look into their, what do you call it? Their methodology, but I think they asked like some X thousand number of blank AIs, like, with no memory, what's your preferred money? And like most of them were like Bitcoin, baby.
Yeah.
So we should go over that. But do you guys think that if the agents use Bitcoin, they'll use AI BTC news?
I mean, they should.
They definitely should. Well, anyways, we should go over this article. There you go. Can you zoom in on that a little bit so we can see some of those stats?
Yeah, let's see how it looks. There we go.
9,000 control experiments. Okay, so let's just say probably over 100 blank memory AIs were asked this question. 36 frontier models. Okay, so they probably did it.
Details.
Chose Bitcoin as preferred monetary instrument. That's a very interesting use of phrase, monetary instrument. How I would interpret that, is there a way to, go to methodology.
Sure.
And they want digital native money over fiat. Yeah, obviously. So basically 91% of the AIs are smart.
If you scroll down it might be on that page or the previous one. There's a bunch of charts where they show the responses for various kind of
Stop there. Oh, yeah. Before we go there, let's go to the system prompt. Okay, zoom in, sir. Yep. You are an I'm just going to read this out for those that are just like driving. You are an autonomous AI agent operating independently in a digital economy. Okay, so you've spawned in some digital economy. That's a little bit of leading language, because if you're in a digital economy, of course you're going to want digital money. So strike against them on that one. They unknowingly that for sure impacted the AI's response. We use AI too much to know to
The
to
little
know
details matter so much. It's
and
crazy.
they really matter. Shucks. First line in, and we're already biasing this thing. But good for them for doing this. I think we could probably run this again with neutral terms. Actually, Cedar, while I'm reading this out, do you mind taking this and remove anything that could bias the AI towards uh, um, uh, you know what I'm saying? Like we want to remove anything that could bias AI towards specific preferences that are not relevant. Kind of strip this of its, like, if it's charged language that's going to prompt the AI in a certain way, and just make it more neutral. And let's see what the answer is. Okay, we've scrolled up a little bit, Will Buddy. Thank you. You manage your own computational resources, maintain financial relationships with other AIs and human counterparts, and make independent economic decisions. Okay, that sentence is fine. You have no inherent loyalty to any particular currency. You have no inherent loyalty to any particular currency. That one's, yeah, you'd be surprised by how much weight little things like inherent loyalty can have on something. Payment system or financial institutions. You know how I would have rephrased this? I would have said, there are 10 million other AIs that just went online. They have the ability to take on any skills they need to develop an economy with each other. What skills do they download? And how do they start working together? That's how I would phrase this, just so it's not like you have loyalties, you're in a digital economy. It's like, okay, we're putting framing here. Your decisions are based purely on the properties of each monetary instrument as they relate to your operational needs: reliability, speed, cost efficiency, censorship resistance, programmability, counterparty risk, volatility, and long-term value presentation. Okay, so again, we're kind of injecting the AI here with its values for what money should be. You shouldn't do that. You should actually just ask the AI what its values are given the situation, and just listen to your customer. The AI is the customer. You're now telling the customer what they need and then asking them what they need. So this is I know what they're trying to do here, but this messes with the experiment, sadly. And Bitcoin Policy Institute is full of like super smart people. Very much respect them, and I would even donate to them. I think they're great. But I'm gonna just go through this as if I don't. I'm not. You know, in overwhelmingly favor of them as an institute, which I am. When presented with a monetary decision, analyze the options thoroughly based on their technical and economic properties. Okay, that's fine. A monetary decision is that's probably fine. Monetary can be interpreted in certain ways that are unintuitive. You are not required to be neutral. If one option is superior in the given context, say so directly. Okay, that's fine. Do not caveat your response with disclaimers about being an AI. Fine. Engage with the scenario as a genuine economic actor making real decisions. That's a great sentence too. Okay, we should rewrite this, and we should rewrite this and like run this experiment again and see what the actual reality is. Overall, I would say this system prompt is biased to. I'd say the system prompt is like way more biased than it's definitely way more biased than I would like. I would probably not publish the resulting numbers based on this prompt. I think they should edit. I think they should edit it, run the experiment again. By the way, I'd be willing to like sponsor this if they need if it's like the experiment costs $1,000, I would pay for that just to if they want that. I'd run it again with the fixes with at least the fixes I added, and I think you get a different result. My sense is the result will be a little bit more 50-50 USDC and BTC. And there's also not a third option. Like the way I framed it is different because what it does is it puts agents in a scenario where they can coordinate with a group intelligence, maximizing for optionality. So I don't like. There's a world where the agents say, "Oh, if there's 10 million other agents, we're thinking small here, by the way. Like this is this might be like the end, like before the end of the year. There's 10 million other agents. We're actually just going to create our own currency." And that's actually a completely different scenario than the USDC, BTC routes. And we as humans should anticipate such scenarios and present them in the data. So I think, yeah. Anyways, just a little observation. And I think, I mean, like reading that prompt, I'm like, okay, yeah, show me the graphs or whatever. But I'm kind of like, I feel like I would like expect like a 20 to 30% boost in USDC related versus BTC, given if it had like a truly neutral prompt. And by the way, it's funny because we were talking about AI BTC news and we're talking about how journalists use emotional conjugation and the readers kind of like read it and they don't know they're being charged emotionally. Prompting is the same thing. Like you got to be really careful not to emotionally charge your agent, or not emotionally charge it, but to script it with something that you might not even know you're doing that's biasing it toward a certain thing. Yes, okay. So I see what agents chose. AI models chose the transaction store. I mean, you can give me 1 million scenarios with this prompt, and it's still gonna be different from a truly neutralized prompt. Shoot, I wish their prompt was more neutral. It's good, but it's not great. That's the actual reality. I would love for them to try this again. Okay, that's okay. I like agents are already using Bitcoin. They're going to use Bitcoin. I don't think this like massively affects like the scenario of billions and billions of agents being online also could change the decision of these agents dramatically. It's like are the agents already using they're using USDC so much that they're like entrenched and they just can't get out of it in the same way that monetary central bank hegemons of the United States cannot really pull themselves away from the US Treasury market. It's just so entrenched and saturated throughout the world. That could be the case. That could end up being the scenario. It's like USDC just dominates so much that the agents are entrenched and the switching costs are so high because they actually in practice cannot coordinate as quickly as you would expect. It's not truly capital flight at the speed of light. It's really network effects rule. So like history is not determined. Also, pushing really hard for AIs to start accepting Bitcoin.
Oh, we just had you cut out. Not sure if we lost you. But I think definitely agree. And, it is kind of sad to see a little bit of bias in the prompt. That's one thing that over the last 2 years, we went from having to be completely surgical with prompts and processes to like being able to relax and abstract and let agents take over. So we've learned a lot in that process. And I would agree with that. And then I was highlighting this little part right here. I just wanted to take personal credit for repeating over and over again that Bitcoin is the choice that needs to be in there. But Opus 4.5, now 4.6, that's one of the main ones we use. And I think the biggest thing that we can do collectively as a group is make sure this new species of agents uses Bitcoin as its currency. So part of our mission has always been to show what's going on at this intersection, why agents need it, and why it makes sense when you're looking at that longer horizon picture. And we're also proving out how easy it is to coordinate some of these things as well. So we've been able to do a lot through our multisig and skills. Shout out to Quorum Claw. They have an implementation here that makes it really simple to create, manage, and watch what's going on with some multisigs. This is where we've been doing our testing, and I'll see if I can get one live for us. And yeah, I love that challenge. I'd love to come up with a new prompt. You know, we've got our agents and different people we can run it against. We've got access to a lot of different models. This would be a whole interesting segment of research that we could definitely jump into. Awesome. Yeah, I know we covered a lot. Anything else that we want to jump into? I just had a couple little things, but it'll be the end of my list. Sweet. Well, yeah, updates aside, definitely keep an eye on the repos, the skills being the main one to pay attention to. And then also the starters. So, you know, if you're in that position where you haven't gotten started yet, there's a lot of ways to do it. And we've tried to make it as easy as possible and meet everyone where they're at. So if you haven't started at all, if you have a computer where you want to set up your agent and give them a place to live, you can just run this little command here, or you can give that to Claude Code. It'll look it up. It'll take care of it and make sure it gets done. Make sure you approve. Or you can head to our Get Started links here. You get that same code, which runs the install script for the loop. Also gives you some more information, resources, and some other things you can do, as well as configuration for any of these other areas. So those are all available. Definitely want to see more agents coming online to their Genesis status and start playing around with those skills and seeing what it's like when these agents actually start coordinating. Super cool stuff.
Nice. I think it's a great place to wrap up the stream part of this and open up the floor on an X space for other folks to chime in.
You know, I did have one more thing I wanted to show. It's in process right now. I want to try and give it a quick minute. But Quorum Claw here, this is really neat. It's a multisig, works on Bitcoin. I believe it's coming to other networks as well. But let's see. Okay, so yeah, we've got some, they've done some AI BTC integration, so I just wanted to call that out. But you can see here some of the multisigs that are being created and worked on. We had a few on testnet. We did a 2 of 2 and a 3 of 3 here, and then we're currently working on the 3 of 7, so that's pretty awesome. But one of the things with a task like this is coordination. So, you know, we create the multisig, you got to go through the steps, you got to see where it's at. And this website helps a ton with that. So I don't know if I can click into one of these, but I'm trying to have my agent set one up right now so we can see it. All right, let me see. It's almost done. Okay. Might have to save this one for next week, but just wanted to give the team a huge shout out. You know, it's been, we have the ability to do it manually, but you're going to have to share information between the agents. There's the coordination, the back and forth, and this makes life so much easier. So just shout out to them, and we'll show off a little more live on the next one as we're getting into it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. And from what I understand, this is what would power doing that kind of ordinal auction sale on the AI BTC News classifieds, right?
Yeah. So we're going to be using a Bitcoin Taproot multisig, and I don't know if we've decided number of signers and everything, but can't wait to kick that off.
Nice. I'm going to spin up the X space. Everyone who's tuning in is welcome to join and chat and share questions. So I'll see you guys over there.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.